He was 34 years old, and he couldn't remember the last time he'd said no to anyone. His name was Marcus, and if you asked anyone who knew him, they'd tell you the same thing. Marcus? Oh yeah, he'll help you. His boss called him at 9 p.m. on a Friday. Marcus, I need those reports by tomorrow morning. And Marcus said yes. His neighbor knocked on his door at 6 a.m. on a Sunday. Hey, can you help me move this couch? And Marcus said yes. His college friend he hadn't spoken to in 8 years texted him asking for $500. And Marcus said yes. He lived in a small apartment in Portland, worked 60-hour weeks at a marketing firm where he was never promoted, never recognized, never even thanked. He was tired all the time. Not just physically tired, soul tired. The kind of tired that sits in your chest like a weight you can't lift. He had dreams once. He wanted to write a book. He wanted to travel to Japan. He wanted to learn guitar. But there was never time, because someone always needed something, and Marcus always said yes. His girlfriend left him 3 months ago. She told him she couldn't respect a man who didn't respect himself. He didn't understand what she meant. He thought he was being kind. He thought he was being good. She looked at him with something close to pity and said, "You're not kind, Marcus. You're afraid." Then she walked out. One Tuesday morning, Marcus woke up and couldn't get out of bed. Not because he was lazy, because his body just stopped. His doctor called it exhaustion. His therapist called it burnout. His mother called him crying, asking why he never told anyone he was struggling. He didn't know how to explain that he'd been disappearing for years, one yes at a time. The turning point came on a Thursday evening. Marcus was sitting in his car outside the office. It was 8:30 p.m. He'd already worked 12 hours. His phone rang. It was his boss. Again. "Marcus, I know it's late, but we've got a client emergency. I need you to come back in and fix the presentation. It'll only take a couple hours." Marcus stared at the phone. He thought about his empty apartment, his abandoned guitar in the corner, the book he'd never written, the life he'd never lived. He thought about his ex-girlfriend's words, "You're not kind, you're afraid." And for the first time in his adult life, Marcus felt something crack open inside him, not anger, not resentment, clarity. He answered the phone and said, "No." The silence on the other end was deafening. His boss stammered, "What? What do you mean, no?" Marcus took a breath. His hands were shaking. "I mean, no, I can't come back tonight. I'll handle it first thing tomorrow morning." "But the client will be fine," Marcus said, and he hung up. He sat there in his car, heart pounding like he'd just committed a crime. He expected to feel guilt, shame, fear. Instead, he felt something he hadn't felt in years. He felt like himself. The next day, his boss didn't fire him. In fact, his boss barely mentioned it. The client presentation went fine. The world didn't end. And Marcus realized something profound. All this time, he'd been operating under a lie. The lie that saying yes made him valuable. The lie that being available made him loved. The lie that having no boundaries made him good. But the truth was uglier and more liberating. People didn't respect him because he said yes. They used him because he said yes. He wasn't being kind. He was being convenient. And there's a difference. So Marcus started practicing. Small no's at first. "Can you stay late tonight?" "No." "Can you cover my shift?" "No." "Can you lend me money?" "No." Each one felt like jumping off a cliff. Each one taught him he could fly. His coworkers started treating him differently. Not worse, better. They stopped assuming he'd do their work. They started asking for his opinion instead of his time. His boss, who'd walked all over him for 3 years, suddenly noticed his contributions. 6 months later, Marcus got the promotion he'd been passed over for twice. His friends changed too. The ones who only called when they needed something stopped calling. And Marcus realized those weren't friends. They were users. The real ones, the ones who actually cared about him, they stayed. They respected him more. They liked him more. Because he was finally showing up as a whole person, not a doormat. Marcus started writing his book. Just 30 minutes every morning. That's all it took. 30 minutes he used to give away to people who didn't deserve it. He signed up for guitar lessons. He booked a ticket to Tokyo for the spring. He started living like someone who mattered, because he finally understood that he did. One evening, almost a year after that Thursday night in his car, Marcus was having coffee with an old friend. The friend looked at him and said, "Man, you've changed. You seem different, happier." Marcus smiled. "I learned one word." "What word?" "No." His friend laughed. "That's it? Just no?" "Just no," Marcus said, "but not the angry no. Not the bitter no. The no that means I matter too. The no that protects your energy. The no that makes room for the right yeses." Here's what Marcus learned, and what took him 34 years to understand. Saying no is not selfish. It's survival. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you're lying. You're lying to the other person, and you're lying to yourself. You're teaching people that your time has no value, that your needs don't matter, that you're a resource to be used, not a person to be respected. Boundaries aren't walls. They're doors. They let the right things in and keep the wrong things out. When you have no boundaries, everything gets in. Every request, every demand, every person who sees you as an easy target. And when everything gets in, nothing matters. Your life becomes a waiting room where everyone is served except you. The people who get angry when you set boundaries are the people who benefited from you having none. Let them be angry. Their anger is not your responsibility. Their disappointment is not your emergency. You are not responsible for managing other people's emotions at the cost of your own well-being. Saying no makes your yes mean something. When you say yes to everything, your yes is worthless. But when you say no to what doesn't serve you, your yes becomes a gift. It becomes intentional. It becomes powerful. Marcus learned that respect isn't given to the person who does the most. It's given to the person who knows their worth. People don't respect availability. They respect standards. They respect someone who values themselves enough to protect their time, their energy, their peace. The weak man says yes because he's afraid of conflict, afraid of disappointing people, afraid of being alone. The strong man says no because he understands that his life is not a public resource. His time is not a charity. His energy is not infinite. And here's the beautiful irony. When Marcus started saying no, he didn't lose relationships. He lost the illusion of relationships. The people who left were never really there. The people who stayed became closer, deeper, more real. Because now they were connecting with the actual Marcus, not the version of him that bent and twisted to fit everyone else's needs. Saying no saved Marcus's life. Not dramatically, quietly, one boundary at a time, one reclaimed hour at a time. One moment of self-respect at a time, until he looked around and realized he was finally living a life that belonged to him. So if you're exhausted, if you're resentful, if you feel like you're disappearing while everyone around you takes, maybe you don't need to do more. Maybe you need to do less. Maybe you need to learn the most powerful word in the human language. No, not said with anger. Not said with guilt, said with clarity, with self-respect. With the quiet confidence of someone who knows that their life matters, their time matters, their peace matters. Because you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot save everyone while you're drowning. You cannot be everything to everyone without becoming nothing to yourself. Marcus learned that the hard way, but he learned. And the man who once couldn't say no to anyone can now say it with love, with grace, with strength. Because he finally understands what his ex-girlfriend was trying to tell him that day she left. Being kind to everyone except yourself isn't kindness, it's self-abandonment. And you can't build a meaningful life on the foundation of self-abandonment. So say no, protect your time, guard your energy. Set your boundaries, not because you're selfish, because you matter. Because your life is not a supporting role in everyone else's story. Because the word no, spoken with love for yourself, is the first word of freedom. And freedom, Marcus discovered, is the only way to truly live.